How's it, punters? Welcome back to the Best Sports Betting Podcast. Another action-packed episode today. Lots going on in terms of previews, and we're also going to be unpacking some of the EPL results. Let's start off with that, Simon. Simon, cracking weekend of EPL football. I watched so much football over the weekend. I think it was one of the weekends I actually, I watched the most football this weekend than I have in a long time.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was great. I really enjoyed it as well. And I think uh, let's talk first about. Well, actually, let's talk first about the game last night, because obviously Liverpool falling to United, which was certainly an unexpected result. And I mean, they played so much better than they did against Brentford. Wow. Sure, their work rate was actually off the charts in comparison. Actually, I don't know if you heard this, but the commentator said that the distance covered from the United players and Brentford the week before was the biggest discrepancy they've ever had since they've been recording those stats.
Yeah, incredible.
So, and this week was obviously completely different. I mean, Liverpool certainly sort of came a little alive towards the end of the first half, but United were much better, and they won a lot of sort of critical battles in the midfield, which they just weren't doing last week. So yeah, they looked much better, and yeah, obviously a bit of a not a shock result, but certainly not what Liverpool would have wanted.
Yeah, I fancy them. I fancy them to pick up an easy win there. Man United just turned that around completely. And I mean, look, Liverpool dominated possession, had plenty of chances and whatnot. Don't know if they were ever going to win that one based on how they played, but yeah, trouble ahead for Liverpool. I think struggling
Yeah,
up
well,
front a little bit, not quite clicking yet. I don't want to say they're in trouble, but potential trouble ahead.
yeah, look, I was looking at the outright odds now, and I see City have gone into 1.4 to win the league. So there's certainly a lot of confidence in them. And I mean, I think the other game which we obviously we'll talk about is Newcastle's 3-3 draw against City. And I mean, I think that anyone who was doubting Haaland there coming into the season, I mean, his finishing is brilliant, and I think that's exactly what City needed.
Yeah.
That finishing in the box really kind of makes City the complete package. But yeah, what a great result for Newcastle, but obviously brilliant for City to come back and
Yeah,
actually get a point out of that. It
great
was
for
amazing.
everyone all round. I mean, Newcastle were amazing in the first half. I thought if they played like that in the second half, they probably could have won like 4-5-1 or something. But
Yeah,
a different City team came out in the second. They shut down a lot. They're still vulnerable, but not as vulnerable as they were in the first half. Great comeback after being 3-1 down. And I'm just glad we got away with a point there, to be honest, because I felt like either side could have nicked that one, but I felt like
definitely.
City
And
probably could have in the second half.
yeah, and I must say, not often that my favorite goal in the match comes from a set piece, but that free
Oh,
kick from
Trippier!
Trippier was
Wow,
brilliant.
incredible, hey?
It was amazing. It really
Yeah,
was a bullet.
such a great signing.
But yeah, look, I mean, I think City showing that kind of grit and determination is obviously how you win championships.
Yeah,
So that was great. But yeah, I mean, both teams looking really good at the moment.
reminded me a bit of that match that they had at the end of the season where they won the league, where they were kind of struggling in the first half and just
Hmm.
opened up in the second. And
Yeah,
then Leeds going and beating Chelsea 3-0 after Chelsea put in a really good performance against Spurs the previous week.
Spurs. Yeah, yeah, that
Leeds
was such a
looking
turnaround.
looking really good.
Yeah, no, they did. Yeah, sure, but I mean, just not as I said. I mean, I think they were fantastic against Spurs last week. But yeah, just not to be. But I think full credit to Leeds. Though. They played brilliantly as they really put in a good shift. So yeah, I mean, and I must say I'm quite impressed that Forest managed to pick up. I know it's only Everton, but pick up more points this time against Everton. Away from home, and didn't sound like a big deal, really, I suppose, against Everton. But at the
Oh,
end of the season,
for
those points
promoted
always
side,
count.
yeah, it's huge. 3 points away from home is huge.
Well, it was a draw.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Yeah, a point, but still, I mean, those points always count for something at the end of the season when you're trying to keep your place in the Prem as a promoted side.
Yeah, yeah, especially when you're going away somewhere you expected to lose.
Yeah.
But yeah, some other interesting results. Arsenal, I saw them smashing Bournemouth. That did that. Southampton beat Leicester, which I thought was quite interesting.
Mm.
Cracker of a game between Fulham and Brentford. And then Crystal Palace also looking solid again this season. Hey, 3-1 win over Aston Villa, just chugging along.
Yeah, that was my bet for the weekend, and it came in nicely. I mean, obviously
Mm,
it's easy in retrospect, but I obviously wish I'd taken this straight up there at about 15-10. But I was kind of thinking about this. It's sort of it's easy to forget that Palace have actually been knocking it about with the big boys since 2013. Whereas
yeah.
the sort of modern
Oh,
reincarnation of Villa is a much more newly promoted side. So yeah, I think I must say I like that price on Palace, and I think that yeah they're looking good. And yeah, I think I'll continue to back them, especially at home at Sellers Park. If getting a nice price of even money, especially against a sort of middle or lower half team.
definitely seem to be a value team to be backing at the moment. But let's jump over to some cricket, Simon. South Africa just smashed England. I didn't see that coming. They beat them by an innings. I mean,
Yeah,
it
no,
was
neither did
Nortje
I.
again. Just came in and just destroyed
Yeah, and
at
Nokia was
Lords.
brilliant.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly. At the home of cricket. I mean, we bowled them out for 165 and 149. I'm really glad Rabada made it in, or not made it into the team, but his injury wasn't serious enough that he played, because I mean he was key. Him and Nokia were both really good. But yeah, I mean. Our upper order really just set the foundations for an easy innings. Really, we just chased down England's total quite easily, and as you say, won by an innings and 12 runs. But I mean, even Maharaj and Norkie put in some good work with the bat, sort of down the order. So yeah, but it always feels good to beat England, especially at
yeah,
Lords.
especially the form that England were on.
Yeah,
Was quite surprised. Although I see we are the number one Test nation in the world, which
yeah,
also surprised me. But
yeah.
then again, I haven't been following cricket too closely over the last couple of years. All right, let's just jump into some upcoming coming sport. We're going to be taking a look at the EPL, SA versus Australia, and the Rugby Championship. Another look at the cricket for South Africa, England, Belgium GP, and a quick look at the US Open. Let's start off with the Prem, Simon, the Premier League.
hmm
I think that's what's that's what everyone is keen on. What are your fancies this weekend? Is there anything that kind of stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to seem like a very sort of reactive selection, but I actually think, and I know Southampton had a bit of a surprise win at Leicester, but as I said a couple of weeks ago, I think they're doomed for relegation. Honestly, I think United can continue their momentum, and I think 1.78 is actually quite fair on an away win there. I think they'll get the 3 points, and I think I couldn't have come against an easier team right now. And as I said, I know that they beat Leicester away last week, but I think Southampton on the whole are just not Premier League quality anymore.
No, that's
So
that's a good
that's
bet. I think going
yeah,
against
and then
them.
and then another one I really like is something which paid a lot for me last season, and it's both teams to score with City and Palace. Again, obviously, just banking really on Palace scoring a goal here, because it's almost impossible City won't at home, especially. So that's at odds of 2.09. So I think Palace have definitely got the guns to get through the City defense. So as I said, it's almost a given City will score a goal. So yeah, I think anything bigger than evens there seems quite fair. So that'll be my other bet. But there's not too many big fixtures this weekend.
No, look, all the big teams are in action. It's a short, well, not a short game week. They're playing again next Wednesday. But yeah, there's not a lot of value. I like Newcastle for a result against Wolves. I think Wolves are kind of struggling at the moment, struggling up
Mhm.
front. Newcastle looking very, very organized. I don't know if they can pick up a win on the road, but I
Mm,
think that the draw no bet at 1.92
mm,
for Newcastle against Wolves, I think that's worth a solid
yeah,
strike. The double chance is a little too short at 1.5, and I do prefer the double chance, but I think I'm going to go with some of the form teams rather than just stick with like teams that should be doing well or have historically done well.
yeah,
So it's kind of mixing it up this week in that sense. Arsenal, I think, should be a cracker of a game against Fulham. All of Fulham's games so far have been absolute crackers.
mm,
I'm thinking lots of goals in that one. There really should
yeah.
be like over 4.5 goals, over 3.5 goals maybe. The odds aren't great on it though. Over 2.5 is 1.49. So I think Arsenal to win over 2.5 goals might be a good shout there. Arsenal aren't having any trouble in front of goal at the moment.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that also might be another, both teams to score bet there.
mm.
That's at
Although
1.85 around
Arsenal's
there.
Arsenal's defense has been good though.
But yeah, I looked at that, and to me, I just think for me, City Palace have got a better chance of getting through the City defense for me than Fulham getting through
Yeah,
Arsenal.
yeah.
And it's obviously bigger odds as well. So yeah, I'm sticking with that one.
I think I'm going to go with Arsenal over 2.5. It's 1.7. So, and that over 2.5 is also going to that's going to include both teams to score. So if that does happen, that's going to be beneficial for that
Mm.
bet. So that's where I think I'm going to go this weekend. And then obviously the Newcastle bet. Liverpool should have no problem against Bournemouth at home. That should also be a bit of a goal fest. I think Liverpool are going to bounce back quite strongly. And I'm not sure that there's a big enough
Yeah,
handicap for
yeah,
Bournemouth on that one. It's two.
absolutely.
It's two at the moment. So it's 1.8 for a 2-0 handicap.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think
Three.
Bournemouth have obviously had a shocking start to the season, and I think they came up as favourites for relegation.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, you couldn't really have a two. Well, I guess City at home would be more contrasting, but it's yeah. I'm not surprised to see the odds there at 1 to 10.
What do you fancy with Brentford? I like Brentford to beat Everton. I think that even money on them to beat Everton at home
Mm,
is
yeah.
is reasonable. I don't think it's a terrible or great price, but I think
No.
it's reasonable. It's on the right. It's in the right area.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's quite interesting because you just think, once a season ago that would be like, I mean, bigger than 15 to 10 probably.
Mm.
They're really they're looking good. I mean, I'd be very surprised actually if they ended up near in the relegation battle this season.
I think I'm gonna put them in a double chance. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of an acca here. I'm gonna have Arsenal over 2.5. I'm gonna take Brentford or a draw, and I'm gonna take Newcastle United or a draw. So that's where I can get a little bit of value from those double chances. Obviously, a bit of a long shot one. One rand's gonna pay £3.30 back, so you're getting 3.24, and that's without
Mm,
a 3% win boost. So that's decent. I think I'll put that one through. Let me
yeah.
pop that. There's the bet code. I'll pop it in the description. Unfortunately, last week we didn't have much luck with Liverpool and Chelsea on that one.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll keep doing these and see if we can pick up a nice winner. All right, Simon, cricket time. No, rugby. Sorry, not cricket, rugby. We've got South Africa taking on Australia.
Yeah, so we had a break. Had a break last week in the rugby championship, and back in action again. And now we're going to the Adelaide Oval for two tests. Yeah, this one kicks off bright and early. It's going to be 7:30.
7:30. Oof,
Yeah,
gonna miss
because I
that
mean,
one,
I'm not.
eh?
The time difference is about 12 hours, 11 hours. So yeah, so it's going to be an evening game in Australia, but a morning game for us. So I guess an excuse for a morning beer then. Um, but yeah, I must say I'm quite surprised that the Springboks have opened as such marginal favourites between 4 and 5 points.
Yeah,
Yeah, look, I said last week I don't think that the box score reflected the reality of the game against the All Blacks. I think we were still pretty darn impressive overall. Um, but look, we also can't forget that Australia have also had their own problems of late.
yeah. But
But
they also they beat England
yeah,
when they were playing like a couple of
not
weeks
not
back. So
not too long back. Yeah, look, I mean, I think this is going to be something which I think our listeners might find pretty hard to believe. We've actually only beaten Australia on their home turf once in the last 23 years.
lots,
And that
couple of
was
draws in there.
yeah, that was in the third round of the rugby championship. That was 2013, so that was 9 years ago now. Look, I mean, head-to-head records are always say this. They're dubious because obviously a lot can change with the side in even just one season. But I find that statistic quite incredible actually that
That
it's been that
is.
long since we've had a win there.
It's not like we've been a kind of Mickey Mouse team over that period of time. We've
No,
got a couple World Cups
exactly.
in that time. So
Yeah. So yeah, look, I must say I wasn't expecting seven, but I was expecting about 6.5 points maybe
mm,
that would on the spread. It's at 4.5. I think that's slightly low for me. So yeah, look, it's not a like a massive bet for me, and I'm not super confident in that, but I would definitely lean towards the box on the minus. Look, history doesn't look good, but as I said, I mean,
mm,
to me, it's a little bit
it's
irrelevant.
yeah. Um, I could make an argument for two different bets here, and one of them is the South Africa on the 4.5.
Mm,
Um, but man, like I don't know. I don't trust the Springboks, and that came out in the last 2 weeks with New Zealand. I said New Zealand will probably pick up a win somewhere, and then the Box put in a hell of a performance, and then the week after that they they lost.
Yeah.
So, like as you said, they still put in a good performance in that game, but they are traveling, and it's
Yeah.
Australia. It's not that easy. They aren't.
No, look, I mean the look, jet lag is a real thing. Look, obviously they get up there earlier, and
Mm,
these days it's less of a fact than it ever has been. And they have lots of different tricks, ways
but
to kind of get around that.
but
But
it's still tough.
it is still it's still a long trip, and it's still and obviously an away game. And I'm actually a bit less worried about the history than just getting on the road for such a
Yes.
for such a big journey. But yeah, I mean, looking at the team, it looks there's not too many changes from last week in terms of South Africa. Jesse Creel is obviously out, and then Faf comes in for Hendricks at scrum half. So nothing too major. But yeah, it's not a very confident one for me, but I would lean towards Springboks -4.5 there for sure. 1.88 on Betway. You might get a better price or maybe a smaller handicap somewhere else, but I would lean Springboks.
Yeah, I mean, I fancy us to. Jeez, it's difficult. I fancy us probably to win the second test at the beginning of next month,
Mm.
just because we'll be more settled there a week later.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, like I can make an argument for Australia. I can make an argument for South Africa here. I think
mm,
I'm just going to stay away.
yeah.
I lean more towards the South Africa -4.5, but man, 2.8 on Australia to win outright in Australia against the traveling South Africa is very, very tempting.
Mm,
Just on price. So I'm going to stay away until next week, and I think obviously, look, but the plan would be to back the box next week,
yeah,
on the assumption that I feel Australia could pick up a win here. I'm just not sure, but we'll see what happens. I'm keeping my powder dry until the second
sure.
the second kind of test, if you want to call it that. Then cricket, Simon. South African action for the second test.
Yeah, look, this is very, very brief, but yeah. So we obviously we had that fantastic win at Lords. Now we're off to Manchester for the second test, and that starts midday tomorrow. England, obviously, slightly. I mean, as you would expect, slightly bigger price now at even money. And I must say, I don't want to be too reactive based on our last performance, but I actually, I think that the 2-1 on South Africa actually is okay. Not rushing to back them, but I mean, if we can just bat, fairly deep down like we did in the last test, I think we're doing well there. Yeah, so I like South Africa actually at 2-1. I think that's fair enough, and you might get a bigger price elsewhere. There's a lot. I see there's a lot of money coming in for the draw on this one, and I think I can make a case for that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that we played really well, and hopefully we can keep that form going.
And then some US Open, Simon. We've got Djokovic as the favorite. Very, very well. I don't want to say he's a short favorite, but he's a heavy favorite.
Yeah, well, look, the news keeps changing, but he's actually pulled out.
Oh wow!
Yeah, look, so it's the same old vaccination story. So,
Ah,
the US won't allow anybody outside of the country to, to enter it won't allow anyone outside of, not, no non-American citizen to travel into the country without a COVID vaccination. So even though apparently they're not even checking it, that's the official law. So he's pulled out. And look, as I said, the news keeps changing, and who knows what will happen between now and next Monday. But so he shouldn't actually be listed in the odds at this point. So yeah, I must say I've got a lot of doubts
I
about.
mean, don't you think there would be some value in backing someone like Nadal or Medvedev if Djokovic could potentially drop out?
Well, yeah. So I must say, I actually have my doubts about a lot of the guys up there. Look, Rafa. It's very hard to ride him off ever because he's just so determined, and he just, he gets on the court. You can see he's just
The
like taking
workhorse.
10 painkillers, and he's just like running on pure gears.
Passion. Yeah,
But yeah, but he's obviously a question mark just because of he's got to
age.
break down at some
Yeah.
point. And Medvedev's been okay. He hasn't been fantastic. He's definitely having a bit of a strange patch in his career. And I'm actually going to take my chances on a very big long shot here, and that's Taylor Fritz. I see he's come in quite a bit, but at Betway it's at 23-1. But I'm pretty convinced you
Oh,
can
he's
get 30s on him.
44 on Betway at the moment.
Is he on
Oh,
40? Is
sorry,
it?
I'm looking at Wimbledon for some reason. Why do
I
I
thought
have
so. No,
Wimbledon open?
yeah, I know. Fritz
There we
is
go.
a Fritz is a hard, but Djokovic's price is still there on the US Open as well, but it shouldn't be as we speak. But Fritz is 23-1 on Betway, and I think you'll get a bigger price elsewhere. I mean, he's more than capable of running deep, especially in hardcore tournaments. And I think that backing him each way, which would obviously mean then that if he got to to the final, you would also get a payout. Is good value, I must say. I mean, he could quite easily get there. So yeah, just obviously with Djokovic being a question mark, with Nadal being a question mark, Zverev is pulled out with an injury from that injury that that terrible knee accident that he had with when he was facing Nadal. That's kind of playing up again. So I just think that with so many question marks around the players right at the top there, I think Taylor Fritz is worth a nice each way shot. It's I think you could probably get 30s if you look around. And yeah, and then in the ladies, I like Sakari at 21.5 looks a decent price for the third ranked player in the world. She's not an absolute hard court specialist, but I think those are very nice odds on her. And when she's playing well, she really plays well. So I like her chances too. But yeah, I think Fritz would certainly be my more, I wouldn't say confident bet because it's a huge like 4% long shot or not even, but I like the value there more with Taylor Fritz each way to win the US Open.
And no love for Kyrgios?
Oh,
Eight
no
to one.
ways. What?
Each
Oh
way.
my gosh. I mean, first of all, the thing is with Kyrgios is first of all, you just absolutely never know what you're going to get. And second of all, he's such a popular character that you never ever get any value in him. I think people just back him blindly because they've
Entertainment value, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, I've never ever seen value on that player in my life. He's always way and way overvalued. So he's just a stay away for me.
All
Complete
right.
stay away. Yeah.
Cool. Great. Thanks, Simon. Guys, we're going to call it a wrap there. Covered a lot today. Hopefully, we get some more action than we had over the last week, this weekend in the Premier League. I think that's definitely my
We
sporting
haven't
highlight.
we didn't chat about the Belgian GP.
No, we didn't. We didn't. Right. Yes, we have that coming up. Before I forget, I've got it right here and I missed it.
No
Yes.
worries.
So let's run. I'll let you run through that one.
Yeah,
Of course.
so yeah, we're back from the mid-season break. So it's been 4 weeks of no racing. So going back to Spa, which is I think it's one of the most beautiful tracks on the calendar. Really, it's absolutely stunning. It's in a very forested area. I think it's about 100 meters difference in height from the highest and lowest points. So
Yo.
there's lots of accelerating uphills and nice corners. So it's really undulating. It's just kind of very different from a lot of other tracks. And it's the longest on the calendar as well. So there's only 44 laps, which is quite a bit shorter than a lot of other races. So it's just around 7 kilometers, I think. Last year, this was the biggest flop of the season because there was so much rain and the track completely flooded. And they tried to start the race behind a safety car twice. And then on the second time, after 3 laps, the stewards decided to call it a race, with points and call it an official race, which is just to me totally bizarre. Anyway, I think everyone was asking kind of, in the aftermath, like, why wasn't it rather just postponed instead of racing for 3 laps and calling it an official race? But anyway, yeah, looking at this year, Max Verstappen, no surprises there, even money. Yeah, he's obviously top of the betting there. He's 80 points clear of Leclerc in the Drivers' Championship. I actually think evens is a decent enough price on him. I like his chances better than 50%. Put it that way. I would have him at about a 55% chance of winning. So I actually think there's a touch of value on backing him at evens there. I think he's proving that he is worthy of separating himself from the pack, really, especially the likes of Leclerc. So I would say there is a little bit of value there, and I actually like him for a change. Normally, I find his odds very too short, but I think all things considered, he looks like a decent price actually to win the Belgian GP.
And what do you fancy about some of the also rans here? I mean, is there any chance?
I mean, I
Or is
think no, I don't really particularly like the odds, but I think
it
science
popular?
is. But again, it's just a bit short for me. And
Mm.
backing podiums with these players is just so easy to.
Lose a
Um,
lot of value. Eh?
you absolutely do. And it's so easy just for one driver to kind of push someone out of those places. So
Some
I,
team
I, I
orders or some nonsense.
exactly. So I don't. You were getting some quite nice value on Hamilton and Russell and Stephen Perez sometimes early in the season, but now it's kind of, you're getting very very short odds on the most likely winners, and there's some of those races who who had slightly bigger prices and now come in. So at the books, it's just it's a very tough market at the moment. So I don't see any value there, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
Further down the list.
Well, let's call it there, guys. Thanks for tuning to the episode. I'll be posting the 20,000 subscriber giveaway special today. There'll be a video on how to enter that, and hopefully we can get a couple winners sorted on our live stream on, I think it's going to be the 1st of September around there, but it's all the details will be in the video. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Have a good sporting weekend, and we'll catch you in the next one.